Oh, let me take you down Raiders Lane, right? So when we're talking about that, we want to be able to kind of have a roadmap of events transpiring in service that could very much so cause, or not only cause, but be an attempt to be in position for you to be experiencing in a stressful event, because the event necessarily does not always need to happen to you to cause PTSD. Let's get that straight, right? I want to make sure everyone understands that. However, when we're talking about corroboration or conceded event, we always want to make sure that whatever the event is, that it specifically can be corroborated by service medical records, personal medical records, buddy statements, or even changes in service, police reports, any type of evidence that can have a shift in mental stability. There's so many different components and aspects that can be able to have a shift in mental stability when we're talking about the military. However, when I'm not even going to say a lot, there are pretty much majority are not reported. So anytime that you have an incident that transpires and it needs to be conceded or corroborated by the VA, and when we're talking about corroboration, please be very truthful. The VA knows they go after these records with the DOD. So if you're going to state something that didn't happen or isn't true, it's automatic denial. It's going to be an automatic denial. They're not even going to push your case file up. Okay. A lot of times, you must have different components in your military record to bypass a stressful event in service claiming PTSD. But PTSD is much different from just claiming a regular mental ailment such as insomnia, depression, anxiety, something of that nature. It is two different types of transactional steps that needs to happen for PTSD to be granted. And again, we're going to talk about those. Okay.
Absolutely. No, because I don't know who has seen the form just yet, but it is vastly different
Yeah.
from the previous form here. So, again, when you are, I guess, recommending and veterans are filling out this form, how can they really gain assistance to making sure they do this effectively?
Well, doing it effectively is going to be first and foremost. So there's going to be a few different components. One, being very forthcoming and detailed. A lot of things that you wouldn't talk about normally that you buried. This is where you want to go in and do it. This is where you want to go and do it. Okay. This is going to give an aspect in the world of what you're dealing with. Vulnerability is something that we always mask and never really put to the forefront. But this is something that we actually deal with on a day-to-day basis. And if it's not day-to-day, even if it's a weekly basis, please expose your pain on paper. Okay, that's one. Two, professional help. There are many VSOs, many professionals who are going to be able to service you. However, make sure you're choosing the right players on your team to assist. Okay? As we have spoken about this on many occasions, again, we want you guys to make sure that you're able to go to, accredited agent or VSOs or so on and so forth. But some of that just isn't working for you. Do whatever you need to do to take care of self, the veteran. Okay? Because though these benefits are out here for you, they're just not knocking at your door. And guess what? We can ask the World War II veterans, or again, we can ask the Vietnam veterans, and we can even ask the current day Gulf War veterans, right? And simply, three, get the help and the treatment that you need. That is going to make sure that this is going to be completed correctly. And why I say that is because by being able to get the treatment that you need, you are going to automatically give them an aspect into your world, your life, and what you go through. Okay, and whether if it's with the VHA, the VA Medical Center, or whether if it's a private records, make sure that the VA has those. Okay, but yeah, that's the components I would take down a pathway to make sure it's being done correct. And lastly, first and foremost, you always can pick up the phone, give us a call. We'll simply be able to assist. We'll simply be able to assist. Okay. At the end of the day, you want the questions answered. You want them questions answered by a professional. Not only do you want the questions answered by a subject matter expert, you want the question that's going to get answered that is going to get you granted. Okay? We're not looking by a generic step-by-step guide. Everyone's military service is different. Everyone's military elements are different. Well, how do you get the uncovering of the elements that you deal with to be granted? Make sure that you're getting the proper help that is personalized for you.
Absolutely. I definitely appreciate that recommendation, because just looking at the form and comparing it against the other form, it can definitely be overwhelming. A lot of details there.